Hello everyone, this is Marianne from Revealing Light Tarot. Straight up, thank you for your support. Thank you for your comments, your donations. Thank you for your wonderful feedback on the reading that we did yesterday between Trump and Mueller. I'm going to do some viewers' questions today, and probably just two threads. I'm going to look at the viewers who have asked me about Michael Avenatti. He's been up on or been arrested for alleged domestic violence. Both his ex-wife, I think, and his current wife, whom he's now divorcing, is saying that they have never had any inkling of any of this sort of domestic violence. So people are suspecting that given that Michael Avenatti was pretty instrumental in exposing the Trump campaign donations to Stormy Daniels and other women, and indirectly there was the Cohen arrest as well. I think there's that idea that Avenatti is being set up. The Republicans apparently, according to one of my viewers, have requested a copy of the charges against him or the arrest file from the LAPD. I guess in relation to the Republicans doing that, they would, because they're looking for dirt on Avenatti. And I think it's quite fair to say that Avenatti has been a thorn in the Republican side. He's been a thorn in Donald Trump's side. So it's a fair thing, I think, to ask the tarot if indeed he has been set up in any way. Let's have a look. And the second question that I wanted to ask was the migrant caravan. I have read on this before whether or not Soros had actually funded it. There was, I think, an inkling that there was something not detailed and not jumping out at me, but there was a question around financing and whether or not that was Russia. So we'll read on that again. So let's firstly have a look, go to Michael Avenatti. So Avenatti, straight away I'm getting, is very brash. He's very ego-driven. He's sort of like a master of the times. So he's seen the current climate. He's understood that there was a need for a hero, for example, to Donald Trump's villain. And he's come forward at this time. He's quite ambitious. He's very, very good at what he does, but he is someone who sees the moment. Does that make him someone who commits domestic violence against a woman? No, it doesn't. So let's see, though, whether or not there's any truth, because I think he was arrested on suspicion of domestic violence. So what is that to do with? He can be... Yeah, so he's very controlled in his interviews. So, I mean, it's not someone who loses his temper. But we'll ask, is there any truth in the suspicion of domestic violence arrest for Michael Avenatti? Michael Avenatti, domestic violence, is there any truth? Michael Avenatti, domestic violence, is there any truth in this? Okay, so straight away we get the Three of Pentacles, which would suggest, well, it is teamwork, and it's about getting results. So that's interesting. So there's a teamwork aspect to this reading. Who's in the team and what are they doing is the question that I would ask. So we get the Queen of Cups, and the Queen of Cups comes forward as the Queen of Cups is a nurturing and a supportive person. And that's the focus of the reading. And again, queens can be mostly women, but I wouldn't discount that being, a male as well. But let's just say there's a woman here. There's teamwork, there's a woman. Has he been set up by a woman? And the King of Pentacles, again, this is this top, this powerful moneyed person. It's interesting. This is like material, materialism, material success. So this would indicate this is kind of like a fairly high-ranking person that has. These cards are pointing, can indicate this may have been a setup by the Republicans at some level where they have gone through a woman. There may have been, this teamwork approach to it. I don't think the LAPD were in on this, for example, but the woman may well have been, and this person would, it's almost like a general in the Republicans' army, and there's money involved. He's been given money. Yeah, okay, 9 of Wands, this is Avenatti, and he really is embattled. He was embattled over the Kavanagh, his client, and allegations of fraud and all sorts of things that he'd made up. He and his client had made up those allegations against Kavanagh, and now we've got this hot on the heels of that. Yes, I think he is embattled. This reading's looking like he has been set up. The 8 of Pentacles, again, that is, mastering the plan, executing the plan. I think it's starting to work. People are having doubts about Avenatti. And the King of Wands, this is, I guess, again, another... it's inspiring this ill feeling against Avenatti. And, who is the King of Wands? This could be Avenatti himself, in terms of he's vowed to fight this and come out and show that it was a setup. Very interesting. I'll just draw some other cards. So the Tower, definitely the inspiration here was to ruin Avenatti. Okay, so there is an inspiration aspect to this card. It looks like it's coming from, from the upper echelons of something, whether it's an alt-right movement. I don't know that it's the Republicans, but it could be someone who associates with the Republicans or identifies with the Republicans, and they've really put in this teamwork, I think, to take Avenatti down. It's kind of looking that he will be damaged by all of this. If he was set up, did he lose his temper in a way that, this woman has gone and complained about him? It seems like there's an element of setup here. And this is sort of completion, this is the goal, the completion of the goal. So I think I think the idea was to set him up and cause him grief and ruin him. And in a way, it's sort of working. So I kind of want to ask, will Avenatti be successful in fighting these allegations and proving that this actually was a setup? Will Avenatti be successful in fighting these allegations? Avenatti, will he be successful? Yeah, he will be. Okay, so the Magician card is this. Avenatti's got enough power of his own. He's got everything at his disposal. He's able to actualise things into reality. That's exactly what he did with Stormy Daniels and Cohen. He's actually, in terms of going after Trump, he's actually brought all this into actuality, and he'll do this again. He will go after the people that have set him up, according to these cards, and he will be triumphant. So that was kind of like quite a surprising reading, viewers. I honestly didn't expect those cards to come out in Avenatti's favour, because I do see that ego-driven opportunity-seeking person in him, but I think that there is a concerted campaign, judging from these cards, to ruin Avenatti, and I think it's coming from someone or some an organisation that associates with the right wing. That will be interesting. Watch this space. He's vowed to, he's got to go to court, and he's vowed to actually prove his innocence and then go after the people that have set him up. Very interesting. Very interesting. He did take on Donald Trump, didn't he? And we know that Donald Trump is a dirty fighter. Okay. And we know what the Republicans are capable of as well. I mean, we only need to go to Georgia and Florida in that regard. So, now we'll go to the migrant caravan, who were used as pawns. Trump has gone very quiet on them. He hasn't mentioned them since the midterms. It was clearly a setup, PR setup on his part to drive a wedge between voters, this politics of fear. There was also that idea that George Soros had been funding the campaign. That resulted in tragedy, that right-wing conspiracy theory. We want to know now whether Putin's involved. Okay, he gave Trump the thumbs up. That was all pretty telling, wasn't it, with their relationship? Was Putin involved in the Russian caravan movement? Did Russia fund the Russian caravan? Maybe via another left-wing group. Did Russia fund the Russian caravan? I'm kind of getting that there was a communist type stuff there, driving that caravan towards the border. Okay, did Russia fund? Was Russia involved? Russia involved in the funding in any way of the migrant caravan? Okay, now the High Priestess, this sometimes comes forward as Mother Russia. Some psychics read this as Mother Russia. Very interesting. If we examine the aspects of this card, I mean, this is the card of, these secret plans that you might associate with the KGB, this clandestine, behind the doors type stuff, secrets, hidden agendas, and, doing things behind, we had the Iron Curtain, the association with the Iron Curtain. What went on behind the Iron Curtain, nobody knew. Interesting card to pull. Let's see what else we do pull. And we've got the Six of Cups, and the Six of Cups comes forward in giving and receiving help, loans and debts, okay? This is the card most often associated with Trump and Russia. So it is, I mean, these cards are interesting. It seems like that there were clandestine reasons that, and this caravan was funded maybe via another another group, perhaps a hard left group, communist group, to move these people toward the US. So it could be that Russian money was funding this other communist sort of left-wing organisation. And look, we have, this is almost presented as Eve coming forward. I mean, this is my Lo Scarabeo deck, and, Eve is coming forward with the forbidden fruit, poisoned apple, drawing on emotions. That's what that whole migrant caravan was about. But essentially this Six of Cups is about loans and debts and giving and receiving help. Help to Donald Trump. The Three of Wands again is this, this teamwork and expansion, but it's also, this person in this card is looking out toward the horizon for help and inspiration. Interesting. Okay. The Five of Swords, that can be Donald Trump. This is like bullies, theft, violence, and it's abuse. Okay, these migrants, they have been set up. This was a setup. Well, that's what these cards are saying. Grief and anxiety. Okay, grief and anxiety. It was designed to cause grief and anxiety. Anxiety in the populace of America. Anxiety, our borders aren't under control. people are overrunning our country, the movement of the troops to the border, all of that was designed to sow anxiety and fear. Okay. Yeah, and this is the root of all of this is keeping Donald Trump in power, and again these moneyed interests here. This is sort of like about building assets for the future. Yeah, okay. I think from these cards, another very interesting set of cards. Russia could have been involved via a third party in funding this caravan. They've done it in order to cause anxiety in the population and drive them in front of the midterms to vote for Donald Trump. It has been giving him aid. There is this teamwork again aspect to it, and it's coming from potentially from overseas, and it is about building assets and building wealth, okay, which is so much of this graft and corruption is all about money. So some pretty interesting spreads there. Would anything surprise us, viewers, in relation to Trump? Probably not. In relation to Putin? Probably not. It looks like Avenatti's under siege, potentially could have been set up. It's hard to tell, but those cards seem to indicate it's possible that he was. We'll know the truth. He may well have taken some untoward action, but even that action was a bit of a setup because it seemed to be that woman was at the centre of it and tied to that King of Pentacles. So there's indications there that potentially all is not what it seems. Let's just leave it at that, because domestic violence is a very serious matter, and I'd like to let that go through the courts and the proper channels. But those cards are certainly indicating that all is not what it seems. So more to come on that. But in terms of this caravan reading, there is quite strong cards. We pulled a major arcana card in the High Priestess, which is indicating that secrets, are behind all of this. Again, associated with some psychics read that as the Mother Russia card. And particularly what is so striking, which is the focus of the reading, is this giving and receiving help, these loans and debts. So, and, indeed designed to sow the anxiety prior to the midterms, drive the vote toward Donald Trump to building wealth and inheritances. So, interesting. Very, very interesting set of cards. I think the migrant caravan reading is particularly strong. What's in the sky is this abuse, this theft, this abuse that we've seen over the last two years associated with the Trump regime. Why hasn't he tweeted about it since the midterms? Why indeed? Okay, there's no more need to. So it definitely was a setup, and it's looking like it was funded via potentially Russia or some overseas interests through a third party in South America, possibly a communist left-wing, kind of far left-wing group. So I'll leave that there, viewers. You can ponder on this. Thank you again for your questions. I always like to go through the comments and have a look at what people are wondering about, because really we're all our little intelligence operatives, aren't we, out in society, and when we pick up things and it activates our own intuition, we're all our own investigators, always seeking the truth. So thank you again. I hope you enjoyed that reading.